In the corridors of Canberra, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese's government quietly greenlights visas for Palestinians fleeing war-torn Gaza, but buried in the approvals lurks a bombshell, entry for vocal Hamas sympathisers praising terror attacks as heroic triumphs. Is this a humanitarian lifeline or a national security nightmare? Smash that subscribe for Aussie truths. Aussie Political Updates has the scoop. Deep in the shadows of Australia's immigration policy, the Albanese administration rolled out a humanitarian visa pathway amid the Hamas-Israel conflict, granting over 3,000 Palestinians temporary stays since late 2023, with promises of rigorous security checks to weed out extremists. But the facade cracked wide open in August 2025 when reports surfaced of Mona Zahed, a Palestinian woman whose social media posts hailed Hamas' October 7th massacre as the most honourable page of contemporary history, complete with celebratory emojis and calls for resistance. Shockingly, her visitor visa sailed through initial approvals, sparking immediate fury from opposition leader Peter Dutton, who blasted the government for endangering Aussies by inviting terror supporters down under. Jewish community leaders echoed the outrage, demanding answers on how such blatant red flags slipped past Home Affairs vetting, while media outlets unearthed her posts praising armed jihad and mocking Israeli victims. In a frantic scramble, Immigration Minister Tony Burke revokes Zahed's visa within hours of the exposure, admitting a review but insisting no Hamas affiliates had entered. Yet whispers of more unchecked approvals lingered, with critics pointing to lax biometrics and self-reported data as gaping holes. The storytelling intensified as coalition MPs tabled questions in Parliament, revealing that Zahed's visa was bizarrely categorised under entertainment, raising eyebrows about bureaucratic blunders or deliberate oversights. But the real jaw-dropper came when Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu personally accused Albanese of appeasing Hamas, tying the scandal to Australia's bold move to recognise a Palestinian state at the UN, predicated on no role for the terror group. Down under, protests erupted outside Parliament House, with pro-Israel groups clashing with Palestinian supporters, amplifying fears of imported divisions. As investigations kicked off, leaked memos suggested internal warnings were ignored amid pressure to fast-track humanitarian aid, leaving voters reeling. Was this incompetence or a calculated political play to court progressive votes? Albanese defended the program as compassionate, but the backlash snowballed, with polls showing plummeting trust in border security. In this high-stakes drama, one family's plea for safety collided with national fears, forcing a reckoning on where mercy ends and risk begins. Midway through this explosive exposé, Aussie Political Updates cuts through the spin to deliver the facts you need. Pivoting to the international fallout, the plot twisted further as Israel retaliated by revoking visas for Australian diplomats to the Palestinian Authority, escalating tensions and drawing rebukes from Foreign Minister Penny Wong, who labelled it disproportionate. In a surprising turn, Australia's top Jewish leaders sided with Albanese, slamming Netanyahu's attacks as divisive and unhelpful, fracturing traditional alliances and exposing rifts within the diaspora. Back home, the scandal unearthed broader controversies, like the cancellation of far-right Israeli politician Simcha Rothman's visa amid his planned speaking tour, which far-left groups cheered but conservatives decried as hypocritical given the Zahed fiasco. Experts dissected the humanitarian visa scheme, noting that while most recipients were vetted via ASIO intelligence sharing, gaps in social media scrutiny allowed figures like Zahed to slip through, prompting calls for AI-enhanced monitoring. The narrative deepened with personal stories. A Gaza evacuee grateful for refuge contrasted against a Sydney resident fearing radicalisation in suburbs, highlighting the human cost of policy pitfalls. Then came the bombshell revelation. Documents showed the government had quietly approved visas for dozens with questionable online histories, only to backtrack on a handful after media scrutiny, fueling accusations of cover-ups. Albanese stood firm in Parliament, vowing enhanced protocols without halting the program, but opposition hammered him for weakness, linking it to rising anti-Semitism reports post-October 7. As global headlines blared, Elon Musk weighed in on X, amplifying conspiracy theories that divided public opinion further. In Melbourne and Sydney, vigils for peace morphed into heated debates, with Multicultural Minister and Ailey urging unity amid the storm. Yet, in a riveting development, whistleblowers from Home Affairs hinted at political interference to boost approval numbers, potentially tying back to Labor's electoral strategy in diverse electorates. This wasn't just a visa blunder, it was a mirror to Australia's soul-searching on identity, security, and compassion in a fractured world. As probes continue, with Senate inquiries looming, the question hangs: will Albanese's gamble strengthen or shatter the nation's resolve? For the latest on these seismic shifts in Auspol, Aussie Political Updates keeps you ahead. That's the unfiltered take on Albanese's visa storm. Hit like, share, and subscribe to Aussie Political Updates for more hard-hitting revelations.